Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us this morning or this afternoon for this joint World Credit Union, World Council of Credit Unions and Regional Credit Union Center webinar, Achieving Credit Union Digitization in Central and Eastern Europe. My name is Greg Newman. I'm Director of Communications for World Council. We're going to hear presentations today on implementing credit union digitization during COVID-19. That's going to be by Klaudia Rein. She is the project manager of the implementation of Payment Services Directive 2 at Kasa Stefczyka Credit Union in Poland. We'll hear a presentation on how credit unions in Estonia are embracing digital transformation by Andrus Ristkok. He is a board director for the Estonian Union of Credit Cooperatives, and also a presentation on why small credit union systems must have a digitization vision. And that's by Eleonora Zgonjanin-Petrovic, CEO at Fulm Savings House in the Republic of North Macedonia. Just a couple of housekeeping notes. If you have any questions for the speakers, please use the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. And those will be, you can see that on the very bottom right of your screen. You can type your questions in there. I'm going to ask those questions to speakers at the end of their presentations as time allows. Also, today's webinar is being recorded and will be available later today on the World Council YouTube channel. That's at youtube.com/WOCCU, youtube.com/WOCCU. We're going to start today's webinar with opening remarks from Rafał Matusiak. He is the president of World Council's Board of Directors. He is also president of Poland's National Association of Cooperative Savings and Credit Unions. Rafał?
Thank you, Greg. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second webinar organized jointly by World Council of Credit Unions and Regional Credit Union Center. Opening this meeting is a great honor and a pleasure for me. The time we meet is special for two reasons, pandemic and digitization. These two seemingly distant areas merge very strongly because the pandemic has significantly accelerated the digitization of financial services. Credit unions cannot afford to be indifferent to such a challenge and progressive changes. The implementation of new digital channels for the provision of financial services must be in the field of our interests and activities. Today, we will have the opportunity to listen to three presentations relating to this area. I'm very glad that today we have the opportunity to see presentations prepared in different countries. Representatives of three systems, credit union systems, from North Macedonia, Estonia, and Poland will present their experience in reaching our members with financial services. I wish you all a successful and fruitful meeting. I hope that the information presented today will be helpful in your daily struggle with the difficult reality. It is also another proof of how well we can cooperate with each other in the great credit union family. I wish you a good meeting. Thank you very much. Greg, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Rafał. We're now going to turn to our first presenter of the day. Klaudia Rein works for Kasa Stefczyka, the largest savings and credit union in Poland, where she serves as project manager for the implementation of PSD2, which is shorthand for the EU's revised Payment Services Directive. She is presenting today about how Kasa Stefczyka is managing all its digital services during COVID-19 and beyond. Klaudia?
Hello, nice to meet you, everyone. I hope I will tell you about few main examples how we solve our problems, especially connecting with the pandemic situation, and how we implementing digitalization solutions during the COVID pandemic. Let's start with the first slide. Thank you. So I'd like to tell you something about how does it look like in Poland and in our credit union, the situation during pandemic. So in Poland, the restrictions related to the pandemic began in the mid of March 2020. And it was the first lockdown began on March 22nd. During this first lockdown, the most entire part of economy in Poland was totally stopped. We was also were unable to go out except going to work or going to shop for buy some food only. To even these days, we have a significant restriction in the economy. Like, for example, shopping centers, gyms, restaurants, hotels, schools, except children classes 1 up to 3, which are back to school since that Monday. Universities, even ski slopes are still closed and not working. So the economy is mostly shut down in Poland. So that's one of the problems with. Of course, our branches are opened during the first lockdown, and they are still open. So we are trying to work normally. But one of the changes was the transformation to home office work for the people working in office, back office of Kasa Stefczyka. Other main problem was expansion to the offer to include products sold via remote channels by the telephone or electronic banking system. We have enabled our clients to open banking, to take a payment card or to take deposits over the phone or over electronic banking. The transitions to the remote channels and home office work for employees from the back office of Kasa Stefczyka took us no more than 2 weeks. So we really run these problems very fast. We make really a good job, I think. What is the most important thing? We didn't introduce a new IT solution during this first 2 weeks of lockdown, but we related on existing IT solution, which we modified for the pandemic situation. What we realized what we need to change. One of the other problems was the employees in our branches. They were fear about the possibility of contracting COVID by the contact with our clients. Also, they had a problem to go to the branches because of the childcare, because the schools were closed and they are mostly still closed. This was mainly related to reorganization of the working hours of branches, assisting them to the other branches. Sometimes we were necessary to close the branches, some branch for the while due to COVID disease of employees, or they have been on quarantine. So the situation is still continues now because the pandemic situation is still. in Poland, but we don't have a good solution on that. But I think now it's quite good situation. Because I want to empathize that during the spring lockdown in Poland, there were very few people suffering from COVID, but there was a lot of panic, and there was a huge fear. But the real pandemic in Poland began in September, and the peak was in October and November last year. Now this pandemic situation is much more better than during a peak. Now we have less than 7,000 people daily infected. Sometimes it's 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, but and it's really good for us because during a peak, during October and November, we was over 27,000 infected people daily. So it was really bad situation. So that's one of the situation what we have during this first weeks and first month of lockdown. May I ask for another slide? Thank you. No. It's sorry. The slide purchase up. No. Yes, this one. Thank you. Purchase membership remotely and open accounts banking online. It's very important for us because what I'd like to say, only the pandemic situation was impulse to change in Polish law. Until now, the customers of Polish credit unions are required to submit a written membership declaration in person and the credit union at our credit union branch. Now the law is changed, and this change open up the possibility of acquiring a new member completely online, as well to opening for him a payment account or selling a loan. This was really a very long awaited change, and it is very important for us. That's why Kasa Stefczyka decided to start running a project to purchase membership online remotely and open accounts online. What is the most problems in this project, which we are running already? We are currently intense to solutions already known on the market and proven in the other banks. So we are not choosing something very new. We are wanted to use the solution which are already very good known on the market. The most important change is to choose how to verify the customer identity online. There are many ways to verify our identity online. Currently, many banks have to implement since last 2 years a new video method of verification. But Kasa Stefczyka intends to use a verification transfer banking from your banking account on. You have to pay 1 zlotys. And that method for us is simpler and more cheaper to implement. We can implement this verification method faster and cheaper, even during this pandemic. After providing all, how does it look like? After providing all necessary data from our potential customer and expressing all the required contents, the customer will be asked to make a banking transfer for his banking account on 1 zloty. After verification, this 1 zloty is going to be returned to the customer on his banking account. But Kasa Stefczyka, after this banking transfer, we will be able to verify the personal data from the banking transfer, and if they are considered with the data provided by the customer from another bank. We also understand those. Sorry. This solution can assume another bank has already verified the identity of the client and open him a banking account. So we treat another bank as a provider of confirmed identity of our client. This is only, let's say, very important part of problem with identified client online, but it's only a part of this verification. The account from which the client makes the transfer banking could not be previously open also online. So we have to also verify that in the national register of online accounts opened, and we have to verify that if this banking account wasn't open also online just before. So, that's another step of verification online. We also verify the data from the identity card in database of restricted documents. We have to verify in the database wherever the identity card is still valid, for example. After positive verification, we conclude with the customer a contract for joining agreement for a payment account, electronic banking system, or payment card. That's very huge project. We are now in the moment. We are building our website and we are starting to connecting with all those registers which we have to be and we have to verify, make a verification of data our clients which they are giving us in the online onboarding. So maybe someone, oh, there is a, sorry, Greg, but I think there is a wrong slide. Could you to make a use of the iService in the credit process? Okay, in another. Okay, thank you. Another big project in our institution is to use the iService to the credit process. So, as you can see, the ICE is Account Information Service, which is mean online service to take our information about our history from our banking account. And we are taking that information and we are using them in credit worthiness assessment process. We already began of the this workflow credit We are planning to begin on the second quarter of 2021, and we will be using that iService for the credit process. What is the most important thing? What is the best thing in the iService? Thanks to this iService, the client will be able to show us his income and expense by providing us information about them, which are collected on his banking account in the other credit union or other bank. The service will be able in the both way, online process for selling loans and in the branches. The process of applying a loan online, the customer will be asked for, after giving us every data we need, after we check them, and after all those process, he will be asking to log in to his electronic banking account in the other bank or the other credit union. The customer will have to let us download his payment account history by the iService. This data then will be analyzed and broken down into income and expense. And after that, we can use it to the credit worthiness assessment process. The iService will be also available for the customer applying for a loan in our branches. They will be sent a text message or an email or with a special link to log in into iService to give us his banking account history. If there is also another service which we are implementing, because sometimes the customer can be afraid of logging into his bank online and give us his all banking account history. And if he tells us something like this, that he's afraid of that or he don't want to do this, he will be able to send us an email with his banking account history in a PDF file. And this PDF file also have to be downloaded by himself from his electronic banking account. Thanks to this PDF, we have we are implementing a new service, also PDF parsing service. Thanks for this tool, we can verify the authenticity of the file, if this is real file taken from his bank. And after that, we perform the same data analysis. So we will broke this data from this file on extents and incomes, and we will use them also for credit score and to decide if he is able to get a loan or not. Finally, we are running the Click Loan project, which is connected with the iService and PDF parsing service. This project will be end, and the most important thing is going to be a selling loan online. But we are still talking about the future. we are planning to do this to the end of this year, and I hope this project is very connecting with onboarding our customers online with banking accounts because we are planning to give him this loan on our account. So we have to provide all those two projects almost together. And we are very closely cooperate. Kasa Stefczyka didn't decide to become as an ICE provider. We have started working with TPP, third-party provider, named Contomatic. Contomatic is a leader in Europe in iService, in PDF parsing service. So we decided to make a deal with this institution. Contomatic provides a comparative technological solution and has a license to perform the iService all over the Europe. So it's very easy and for us, and it's much more cheaper to implement some other tools and IT solution. Currently, I cannot say too much about the benefits of working with a Contomatic, except that till now this cooperate is very good. But I will tell you something more after in the spring of this year. When we will implement those two services in our credit workflow. That's a good slide. Another our product is a huge product we are thinking about, and we are really thinking about. We are working about it. It's paperless project. Kasa Stefczyka is really seriously considering and analyze to open this project. We intend to resign from concluding contract with our clients on paper. All contracts are be presented by a sign on tablets. The signed contract will be immediately sent to our electronic archive and to the customer on email address. Of course, the client will be always able to receive a paper or to get a set of documents, but it's going to be only upon his request. The client will be. We are planning only the option of paper. Yeah, so the main workflow will be on the tablets, where we are planning to show him his contract, where he can read it. Of course, if you want a document by paper, we were able to give him, but it's going to be only opportunity. The main assumed is to give up the paper in relation to our clients. We realize that the running benefits of tablets are the biggest benefit is saving money on archiving paper documentation. It's a really huge saving. Also, switching to electronic document archives give us shorter customer service in the branch, and also our employees in the future, employees in branches will have not to spend a lot of time to handle paper documents. for example, preparing them to the traditional archiving. Also, the very important things is also the pandemic situation, because we want to protect our employees and customers, because tablet can be disinfected before every use. Not to and it's much more safer than using paper during pandemic. And of course, also the ecology is a good argument, because we are reducing the paper use and, for example, the print stone, which are not so much ecology. So I hope.
Klaudia?
Yes.
We're just, oh, you're coming to your end.
Okay, I'm just finished, yeah. So, that's all the main projects which we are planning to implement this year. So thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and apologies if we were jumping the gun there trying to move things along. I appreciate your time. If anybody has any questions for Klaudia, you can please enter them into the Q&A section. And if we can't get to them during this presentation, we will try to answer them or have Klaudia answer them for you online. So we appreciate your time, Klaudia. Thank you so much. Up next is Andris Ristkak. He is a current board director and the former CEO for the Estonian Union of Credit Cooperatives. Mr. Ristkak is an economist by trade who is also a member of the Republic of Estonia's Supreme Council from 1990 to 1992. Serving as one of the signers of Estonia's 1991 Declaration of Independence. He's also served as a lecturer at the Institute of Territorial Economics at Tallinn University of Technology. Today, he's offering a presentation on how Estonia credit unions have embraced digital transformation for their members. Andris?
Thank you. Let me first describe in short why Estonian Union of Credit Cooperatives has decided to start this long, expensive and stressful journey of the digitalization of our credit cooperative business. Maybe you know that Estonians seem to be rather apt to digitalization, and our society has made a lot of efforts in this direction, and this domestic environment has really kept our credit unions also under the certain pressure of digitalization all the time. Yeah, there are some more maybe motivated reasons. One is that during the 90s, after the regaining of independence, the Estonian banking sector changed so much that 2-3 Scandinavian banks took about even more than 90% of the banking market into their hands. And they are exploiting really well Estonian citizen, so that today this Baltic market in the 3 Baltic states for those banks is the best profit producing area. All the services are more expensive than in their homeland and so on. Then in 2009, Estonia passed the Payment Institutions as e-money law, and this actually abolished the right to provide payment services at credit cooperatives. That also annoyed very much our members and cooperatives themselves. So actually, maybe they are just the main motivating factors to start this thing. And of course, we had to keep in mind also our environment here in which we are working. For that time, when we started to make these decisions, this almost real-time online banking was already a normality in Estonian banks those days. This internet banking, there was no mobile banking yet, but internet banking was widespread. Almost every Estonian had the bank accounts. That was also forced by the state government, that everybody had the account in the banks. And since 2002, Estonian citizens have had a chipped ID card, which functionality has risen from year to year. And today it allows to manage hundreds of different procedures over the internet without appearing to the offices. Of course, we made some survey also around, maybe there was available some ready-made solutions which are offered on the market, but it became rather fast clear that actually that is hopeless, because everything which was proposed was very old-fashioned, not suitable for credit cooperative business, and the price was actually so high that it was not worth of even thinking about buying this kind of things in. Besides, like I started already, that Estonians seem to be apt digitalization. Every credit cooperative, oldest in Estonia already 30 years on the market. Every credit cooperative has supplied their offices with the standard office software and accounting programs, most of all of domestic origin, since they're very founding already. So people are skillful in computer use and looking around for new applications and programs, that was for sure. But unfortunately, our organization is rather tiny. We have only 7 credit cooperatives in UCC, with a total membership about 2,500 members. Estonian Business Register has more credit cooperatives in the register, but most of them doesn't belong to these classical ones, thanks to the loose regulations in Estonia. Especially last wave of credit cooperatives seem to deal with different businesses, and as there is no state supervising from state side, then they can actually spoil the market somehow. And our circle is rather close. That means, of course, also the limited resource for that purposes. What we actually planned when we got clear the idea that we have to do something ourselves, we started to look around who would be our partner, put together our resources, and designed such kind of vehicle which could answer all our needs, like the banks have usually, which could manage the client's database, register accounts, manage savings, deposits, account interests on savings and loans, keep the records, allow to print out the reports, and even provide an internet and mobile banking service, which was one of his main targets in this idea. And a special company was founded for that purpose, Baltic Shared Services Limited, the full name. As you see, that was a rather ambitious name those years, 10 years ago, but now still only in Estonia. But all the ends are still open. So just a short history here, how it happened. It was 10 years ago then when we established this Baltic Shared Services Limited. All the members of EUCC are shareholders in this company. And as the finances are very, very low, then we invited also our American partner, Virginian Credit Union League, to participate here. And one IT company who has very long experience and very good skills in financial softwaring, and who has been in the larger team of Estonian State's digital development in different sections. And if you started our work, this IT company provided the core system for the elaboration, but all the other work had to be adjusted and then prepared, especially for the credit cooperatives, and keeping in mind this flexibility in different directions. Initially, we planned to do this work within 18 months, Now we can take it. It has taken 4 and even more years to reach to arrive to the first results. Actually, the back office modules were launched in 2014. The payment facility took 1 more year when it was launched, and mobile banking portal was added in 2016. But that was not enough because we couldn't switch immediately to this EBA clearing, Euro banking agencies clearing system. It happened just last year, and it took 2 years to work out this linking over Lithuanian Bank's Central Link bridge. But it is finally launched in September 2020. The system which we happen to work out doesn't require very much from the users. That means credit cooperative, who is the user of the system. The system works over the internet, and every user has to have only PC or an office network with several PCs with internet connection and usual standard office software. The system itself takes care of backups, and also the company who runs this system takes care of upgrades and development of the system and adjustment if any user has different needs or different products to be defined, or different, maybe even software adjustments to be made for that purposes. So just to list functionality, main functions here. This is actually very long here, and I just maybe this main chapters told. You see that all this customer management is included, starting from personal data, addresses, scanned documents, access rights, and different parameters which are needed to have on customers or credit cooperative members. Then there is accounts module which can open and close accounts, has an account list, account statements, manage account settings, limits, authorized persons, and so on, and manage interest calculation parameters, which actually is defined in different module, but it also runs into this accounts module. Loans, of course, contracting the loans, loan copies, signing the loans. Digital signature in Estonia is a very common thing. Quitting the contracts, contract change requests, create new contract versions, and so on. And also some alternative scenarios are included to the loans module, which includes pledge, mortgage contracts, other collateral contracts, and so on, which is also needed to be fixed in this section and always be available and usable in the system. And also to make changes in the contracts if it happens to be. And finally, the end of day calculations, active loan and schedules, process in or out payments, calculate accrued expenses, calculate penalties, loan termination, and other things. The same kind of functions is on the deposits module also. All this long list, which is just in a few words described in this slide. And finally, end of day calculations, which calculates all the interests, processes payments, principal account amounts and interest amounts, which is concerned, which is related to the concrete customer. Payment system. It allows to make transactions, cash payments, monitors payment process and also makes this end of day calculations, which allows to put the figures into the balance sheet. And it uses different payment channels. The fastest is, of course, intra-branch or intra-bank or inter-cooperative payment, which happens even automatically, not depending on the day or the week. Then is inter-branch or intra-group payment, which is payments between the participants in this PSS system, different cooperatives who use the system. It also doesn't turn to this EBA clearing. And of course, if you're going on, then domestic payments, that's payments between different actors in Estonia, already not outside of credit cooperatives, between different banks. And finally, this single euro payment areas payments. Administration module, which includes credit cooperative employees, the roles, permissions, product descriptions. The list is endless. You can add new products, describe them, write in the parameters, which is then accounted by other modules of the systems. And of course, reports, list of standard reports, accounting reports, it means balance sheets, cash balances, export of ledger entries, and business reports, payments, loans, deposits, such kind of things. Then internet and mobile bank functions, which is modern and highly required, of course. It allows to do the same thing like in bank internet portals usually, to view your account statement, create payments and make transactions, view loan and deposit information, manage user settings, display credit cooperative contact information, and so on. This works rather smoothly. Today we have tested it several years, and that's rather popular. Now we can tell about what use of this PSS system is. Actually, that's a small banking system. It allows to do everything, almost everything which is done in the bank's IT systems, having all these technical features which needed, starting from product definitions, fees, transaction engine, document management, and printouts. And now the system is integrated with the Euro Payment Gateway, which allows money transfer throughout the Eurozone. That's almost all this Eurozone, how many countries we have them. This one we can use even as a separate product, because maybe several users doesn't want to switch into this back office modules. We have one case in the EUCC also. That's our biggest credit cooperative in University City. A lot of students are the members of this credit cooperative, and in the very beginning they started to develop their own back office system. They were so self-confident that they can do it. And they were not interested to integrate with the whole PSS system. So they wanted only to get this payment channel, payment gateway. And then we elaborated such kind of solution also, that is possible to get this payment facility without joining the overall system. Which is very good in the system is that that's flexible. It is built so that you can add different conditions and possibilities if needed. That's multi-institution, multi-branch, multi-currency, multi-country, and multi-language. Today, most of the things are done in Estonian, but actually the core system works in English, and that's rather easy to translate it into different languages, which is used by different users of the system. And another thing is that each branch has separate data, or each credit cooperative, each user of the system has a different data set. different customers, registers, different accounts, different agreements, different users, and they cannot switch into another user's sector. That's secured in the system. Actually, the example of the system in the core system was taken from the Estonian Treasury solution, where all state treasury is united in one, let's say, final bank account, but every ministry has different bookkeeping, accounting, and they cannot touch and see another ministry's accounts. And the same principle is included in this BSS system. We call it BSS system. We don't have this better name still after the name of the enterprise here. And if anybody wants to join the system, then the thought work is now needed because the big work is done. Several users use it already. We have used almost 300,000 euros for development of this system, thanks to the fact that one shareholder has taken its core system as the basis for that. 10 years, maybe if we had bigger finances, we could do it faster. But as a result, now we have a solution which could be introduced to the new user in the full capacity. That means the back office and payment facilities within 6 to 12 months by estimation of our IT specialists. It depends how much functionality the customer wants to deploy. And part of this development has to be perhaps the same IT company and together with the client, of course, this deployment process. And another option is to connect only with the payment gateway. This is easier, perhaps, not to use this back office modules and then system just to get the payment channel. And it takes the skilled team perhaps 2-3 months plus testing period, 1 month average. It depends again. This team has to be experienced, but it doesn't have to be connected with this core system because this development doesn't depend on this basis of this back office built up. So that could be done. It depends who just the new customer would be. But of course, again, our experience here is that it has to be skilled developer. The same big credit cooperative I mentioned earlier, which wanted to get only this payment gateway. Their platform for this back office is taken from freeware, and now they're just having rather big difficulties to build up the interface between the payment gateway and their back office system because the initial platforms are so different. So it takes a rather long time, not within 2 or 3 months, that maybe taking more. Of course, everybody can find the solution finally because the IT world is very rich in different kind of solutions. That's maybe all from me. Thank you.
Thanks, Andras. I know that a lot of people are probably on this call thinking that, or on this webinar thinking that that is a system that they would love to be able to implement. Question we have from our audience member today from Vladislava, and I just want to mention we are running a little bit over our planned time, so we are going to go a little past the top of the hour because we do have one more presenter, but we want to give Ellie time to do her presentation as well. So please stay with us if you would like. We will be going a little over the top of the hour. But one question for you, Andras. Do you have it's from Vladislava asks, do you have a localization success case for BSS? That means, has it been localized already for any other market outside Estonia or not?
Not yet. We discussed with Latvians, but actually they seem rather inertial to this thing. the largest credit cooperative in Riga, because they had some old system, and then if they introduced this euro area, they had to change to another one, and I don't know actually the last solution we had. They started to think about, and we were not ready then. It was several years ago to provide this ready-made solution. Now we are almost concluded thing.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you so much. A very interesting presentation. I think, like I say, a lot of people are very interested to see how you guys put that digital platform together there in Estonia. Our final presenter of the day is Eleonora Zigonianin-Petrovic. She is the CEO of Fulm Savings House in the Republic of North Macedonia. She's been serving in that capacity for more than 20 years now. She's also a founding member of World Council's Global Women's Leadership Network, president of the supervisory board of the Alliance for Microfinance Organizations in Macedonia, and a representative at the General Assembly of the Macedonian Banking Association. Her presentation today is on why small credit unions must have a digitization vision. Ellie?
Hello to everybody. Greg, you did great pronunciation of my surname. It's usually not so successful, to be honest, but I would like each of you to remember me as Eli. And I'm coming from, as you can see, Republic of North Macedonia. And I can see that we have some of the attendees that are out of Europe. So this is this small dot here. This is the Republic of North Macedonia. So we are, as you can see from statistics, small country with less than around 2 million people here. And as you can see, our gross domestic product shows that we are not even a rich country. And also that we are small, that you can drive from one side to the other side of country for around 2 hours. But also you can see that our national dinar is domestic currency. On the next slide, you will see about our institution. And as you saw, we are Fulm Saving House. We are established in 1999, and we are over 20 years. And as you can see from numbers, shows that we are around 6 million in assets, euros, and around 12,000 members. But we have 6 branches, and we are one and only type of financial institution in country where we have credit union concept. When we were established, we used to be project in 19th of World Council of Credit Union, established with the funds of USAID, and now we are very proud to say that we are serving a lot of micro businesses for over 20 years. Our vision is better life with our financial services. Also, before we go further, I would like to talk about you in the big picture on the slide about digitalization. I will show you, this is the reality, the study that was conducted about the digital readiness. As you can see, most of the countries that are part of the of Europe, especially now being a part of the European network of credit unions, you can see that you are standing quite good. I mean, you are in the stage where you are ready. So the study showed for the different country, but the funny thing in this is that all these gray regions on the map show that they are not within the study, meaning that the Republic of North Macedonia and Albania, they are not in the study. And when you will see this, me as coming from the country and making a decision about digitalization, you will think, oh, is it normal to not be in the study? And the second thing, but when you will see that in the study it's not also Estonia, and you've heard from Agnes how good they are in the technology, so you think it's, oh, maybe it's just calculation. So therefore, check your numbers, and you can see that most of the countries that you are in Europe, you are officially ready to do your digital path. It's just the vision where you are ready. So the global average is 1196. Everyone beyond it's good, but regionally, you know, we always in this region, we need to do our best to compare between ourselves, because usually it's in this part of the Europe, behavior toward clients is similar. So therefore we conduct regional studies in May 2019 for 900 62 clients about how they are digital ready. These are the countries that were part of this study, which I'm really grateful because that creates a level of understanding how our clients are ready about this. So how ready they are? Okay, look, I'm a bit disappointed in present moment that online or internet banking, could you imagine that this percentage is so large that you cannot even imagine that the big number, about more than 74% of the people never experience, meaning our clients, never experience online or internet banking? Or could you imagine worse, that 87% of the people never experience loan online? So the next thing that we did is, on the next slide, you will see why. And the main reason why they didn't do internet banking is typical behavior, or 31% they don't know how to use. So probably this is a strange word for them. And 27% they think they are not trusting. You know, the trust probably is the crucial, especially for the people who are not financially educated and combined with digital ready. So therefore, you will see how, on the next slide, how it's possible that we make this incredible decision to do further with digitalization. Because from the study was huge with a lot of information, but we realized that there is something good in this study, showing that probably 77% of the persons fulfill the questionnaire. So meaning that they at least understand what is talking about. And very important is that 60% from our clients that were in the study, they are up to 44 years. So they are on a digital path. Whether we will meet them on the way, it depends on us. If you would like to do, as I say, as a small financial institution, if you would like to say to make a long-term strategy for success, then you should be focused exclusively to make sure that this 60% have the same type of access to finance as they were expecting according to their age. So the most important is now the next question about the on the previous slide, sorry, on the question with the expectations. So in the survey, there was a microfinance institution, non-government organization, and financial institution as ours, which is not bank. So, but the problem is that 32% of our clients think that they are using services, their microfinance services, in a bank. And the most funny is there was no bank in the survey. So that shows to each of us necessity that we are comparing with the bank in industry, in the field of digitalization. So their expectations, they are connecting us with the banks, no matter that we are not, but they are connecting with the banks, and how the banks are closer to allow better and better digital channels, they will expect that our services will go the same. And from the technical side of this issue, it's okay, we have a good news. 80% they all have smartphones. Now after the COVID, probably 100%. And 70% they are using internet on their phone, but not on the Wi-Fi. So they understand what is the internet good for them. So what we made decision that, look, there are good potential and we go further with digital transformation. You can see that we did most of our business processes, make sure that we integrate it, because you have loans here, savings here. Then you have other activities that are connected with the accounting. And so we combined in one customer software that was completely integrated. So therefore, we are happy that that works under that platform, that everybody can get good information in the same time. And also on the other side, we did a lot of work on the customer experience. So we make sure that the website is okay. So it's not somewhere in the 90s when we started, and then we introduced e-banking, mobile app, online application form, and digital marketing, meaning all the social media, including online chat. So what we were not forgetting in any moment for the small financial institution is that, look, if you have this information that the clients are afraid how to use the online channels, and if the customers are not trustful, so they don't trust to you, so you need to make sure that you go slowly, respecting their capacity. So therefore, we say, okay, the chapter 1 will be testing the waters, and you can see we make really, really basic short loan application form so that they can feel confident that, look, if I can fulfill all this information, then probably I don't need to go in the branches as I used to. So therefore, we put the basic fields, not so sophisticated, like meaning if you have a capital letter, or if you have dot, so the system will not accept. No, just simple. Whatever you need to type, just type, and then we can and give us a right to call you on the phone or email. So the good was that we offered this on the next stage. We realized that, look, obviously we have a lot of demand. I mean, there are a lot of people who are fulfilling this short loan application form, showing that, okay, there is enough interest. And now we realize normally, and we knew it in advance, that this will be too much work for us because it will be doubled work once in one system and the other. So therefore, we realize that it's time that we go to chapter 2, completing real online application. And yes, you can see the application is fulfilled by regulatory environment, everything that was, but the most important, again, was not to not make the system afraid, so that people will see million fields to fulfill, but in the reality, we split up in 4 steps. So they will fulfill first basic information, then slowly they will go further and further. And if they don't feel comfortable, they can always close, and we will find them on the way with the introduction information they give us. Therefore, we work a lot to make sure that this can go through the website. So the most important for this period was that we don't forget that e-banking as a service, because, you know, we would like to make sure that everybody will have opportunity to get information via internet, whether that is via mobile app or via website. Still, we would like to make sure that this will go. But as you know, for any project, including this digitalization project, management support is crucial. If the board and the CEO doesn't think that should be done, it will be never done. Then all make sure that you can find IT solution provider, not some state of the art, because, you know, you are small. You need to understand that your IT provider practically needs to understand your size and your capacity. Don't forget your customer. In this case, don't forget that they are not trusting us via internet, and they don't know exactly how to fulfill whatever we required for them. And funds, money, there are never enough, because you're small, you don't have huge budgets. But you know what? There are million other institutions that can help you to develop, especially the institution as we are, cooperative, that can help you to develop and to make sure that you provide a better financial services for example, people in our country. And motivating employees and trainings is endless work, but it's worth it. It's a matter of time that everybody will understand that we are on that path. Because if the employees are well motivated, they understand why it's good to have, then digitalization is on. So e-banking is the same fancy as the banks in other financial institutions. They can check savings and loans and everything about that. And what we are happy to announce that they can always apply online. And the most important, and what was crucial for us in the COVID period, we enable members to electronically submit a request to use our e-banking without having to visit the branch. And that was crucial in this period of COVID, because, you know, we realize that people are ready for submitting this type of request. Normally, we have the same challenges as Klaudia mentioned about the identity, but we overstep. And don't forget, we as a small financial institution, we know our clients. We know our members. We know who is who from the other side. As I said a million times, on the phone, when our loan officers are talking, they already know who is on the other side. So on the next slide, it will be seen that our mobile application was the same path. We didn't want to make in 2006, we started our first mobile application, and with purpose. We didn't make state of the art so that someone will open and will question how they will manage further. But we make sure that this is simple. And this is our first mobile app that we launched. It was quite simple that people can see. It can be downloaded only from our web page, so they can get a feeling how it was only make sure that it will create interest between our members. So the next step was to create really fancy and serious mobile application, which it's already done here. This year it is promoted on 3 languages, English, Macedonian, and Albanian, which are spoken here. So therefore, they can see that this is also added one more feature, going slowly. So the feature is that they can additionally check individual access by their phone. So they can see everything that is with their status. And the most important is that we tested internal transaction, meaning that we don't have a right to do payment services, as you see from the previous panelist, but we invented that we will teach our clients to do transfers within our institution. So you can transfer money from your savings account to a monthly installment, or you can transfer from monthly or money with a different type of products. But the most important in all this is just to make sure that they are feeling comfortable to do that in our steps in preparation for payment services. So the next thing that we did was to make sure that on the next slide, you will see that reality was that we have concluded in the vision. Look, and I am really tough about this, and most of the people that know me, they understand that, look, you don't need to do long-term strategies if you are not accepting reality that the credit union, small credit union, needs to be digitalized. There are no necessity for further long-term planning, because this year, the year of COVID, show us that if we would like further to live, if we would like to have good businesses with our members and to make sure that they all have equal access to finance, meaning via digital channels, it's crucial that you have digital vision. Yes, it's difficult. We are 6 million and only 30 people with multiple branches. It takes a lot of effort, but on a long term, that is sustainability for our system. And what is the future? You see excellent explanation about the Klaudia, where is the future? Well, the future, especially future connected with the payment services, where they had a great idea how they did customer identification with 1 zlota. You saw from Arnus from Estonia that, look, if the country developed like them from 2002, they had digital identity. So take so long to implement something new because the size is important, the funds are important. So from 18 months was planned to few years. It is difficult, but it's manageable, can be done. And we will make sure that in the future, we will entering in the digital signature, make sure that we will be in with the digital identity. And normally we will do a lot of work with the electronic payments and wallet that is famous because the credit cards are, I think, history, and how the payments will go through the mobile phone. And normally we will introduce much more content connected resource management. This is my end, but I will especially thank you in this moment to each of you for taking the time, especially me being boring last speaker and being presenting the small one. And I will conclude to each of you, please read the blog that is challenges for 2025, where we stand firm as size doesn't matter, vision does. See what we've done in the more detail, and don't forget that each of us are ready for this digitalization. The question is whether you will be accepting or not. And in the end, I would like to say special thank you to my colleague Angela and Philip for preparing such a nice inputs for this presentation. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Ellie. You know, both you and Andres, really inspiring presentations to kind of give all of the different credit union folks who are on this call today from Central and Eastern Europe an idea of what the possibilities are of what can be done. And I just wanted to make sure before we conclude today, Rafal, did you have any final comments or observations based on any of the presentations that you heard today? We heard presentations from Poland, Estonia, and also of North Macedonia. I didn't know if there was anything that struck you, Rafal. Actually, we've got before we get to that,
as the Rafal is not yet anymore with us, so probably I will say instead of him that this webinar showed us very well how important is digitalization, and regardless the size of the system and regardless the size of each credit union, we have to find solutions, and that solutions should be really adequate to our specifics. So typically there are made especially for the credit unions. It was a case in any country in this presentation, and I'm very glad that we had today opportunity to exchange our experiences from countries from the region, being part of the European Union as well as being at least yet outside the European Union, because it shows that regardless that situation, the problems we do have are very similar, and often the paths we are following are very similar. So I also would like to thank you, everyone who decided to participate in this seminar, as well as all speakers from our 3 countries. So thanks.
Actually did have Pavel, and just for those who are on the webinar that don't know, Pavel Peltz. Pavel is the head of runs the Regional Credit Union Center. So he is involved with World Council in trying to help with Central and European credit unions and do things like we're doing today, which is helping credit unions kind of try to achieve their digitization goals. I do want to ask Ellie, we did have one question come in. This is from Elvana. She says, hello, Ellie from Albania. Great presentation. Congratulations on your digitalization project. Do you have any assessment on the outputs of your project so far?
To be honest, if you if we measure how many loan application we have had over 100 on a daily basis. So for us, it was big number. I mean, 100 online application, it's huge number. And also about the mobile transfer, we have enough that it's far away from financially sustainable, but it is the path that we know that we need to go on. And I'm sure that our members, especially members who are already doing this internal transaction, will be our super clients in the future for the payment services. So therefore, if you ask me from the viewpoint, is it worth it in numbers? It's early to assess, but on a long term, it will be worth it. And probably I will answer for the one next year for this question. Okay,
very good. Well, listen, I want to thank everyone who participated today. Klaudia Rein from Kasa Stefczyka, Andres Ristkak from the Estonian Union of Credit Cooperatives, and also Ellie. Thank you so much for being here. If you want to review this webinar, or if you want to recommend that others watch this webinar, you can find it. It will be available later today on our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/WOCCU. And again, we will probably have that up a little bit later today. Thank you so much for joining us, and have a great day, everyone.